appetite in eating or what? Yani hapa pia amegonga. Akasema ili uweze kuelewa mambo ya unabii, lazima intemperate or wrong type of eating and drinking lazima uachane nayo. Ile ndio maana nilianza na hiyo. Kama unataka kuelewa mambo ya unabii, achana na mambo ya hizo vitu ambazo zinafanya akili zako zinakuwa chafu. By the way, let me tell you one thing. Anything you always reject these warnings. Where huwezi shinda Nebuchadnezzar? Who was Nebuchadnezzar? A king of the whole world. You are not even a leader in the church. Nebuchadnezzar was a king. Do you know a king? Not even a president. A king that owns the whole world. Alafu anasimama anasema si huu nini ufalme nilijenga na nguvu zangu. Alafu at that very time, what happened? The word of the Lord came, and then he was taken to the what? To the wilderness. For how many years?
7 years.
What was he eating? For how many years? He became an lacto-octo vegetarian. Nebuchadnezzar ate grass, vegetarian. Not even a balanced diet. Grass. For how many years? 7. Wewe unaweza mshinda Mungu wewe? Akitaka uokolewe, wewe unaweza mshinda? And what God sometimes does is this. Anajua huyu mtoto anafaa ingie mbinguni, lakini baada anacheza. Sasa chenye inafanyika, let me cause some serious accident. Ama anaruhusu shetani anakuunganisha ama anakukutanisha na some girlfriend or boyfriend that will be able to end your life in a very mysterious way. Yani ama uende mahali upigwe kada kubuti. Ukitoka pale unasema jameni, kuna Mungu wapi? Ama nakosa very serious accident, unapoteza miguu na nini, mpaka siku moja unakuja hapa na wheelchair unasema jamani, hata mimi nilikuwa all the way you are, but mimi sasa ina msifu nani? Kama Mungu anajua kwamba that is the only thing that will be able to make you to go to heaven, atafanya. Si hata alimfanyia Paul. Paul alikuwa nini? Kwani wewe unamshinda Paul? Hujui hata kuhubiri. Cheza tu. Don't indulge yourself in this appetite and simply drinking. By the way, me, I'm standing here as a living testimony. Since I left sugar, I'm using the natural one. By the way, you cannot stop sugar and then the body needs glucose, is it? So you must have to get sources of the best things. In fact, the best type of diets that you're supposed to be taking are plant-based what? Diet. Anything that is plant, cereal, grains, fruits, vegetable, nuts, tubers, name them. All those things have got the nutrients that we need. God in his wisdom, he gave that. Even lions were eating that before what? Sasa hii ndio Mungu alisahau. Akasema ukiacha nyama, sijui protein itafanya nini, sijui daktari hajasema. Wacha nikwambie, ile siku daktari anakuambia acha na sukari ama nyama ama nini, you are nearing your grave. Wacha niseme kwa sauti. Siku daktari anakuambia achana na eggs, you're nearing your grave. If they do this, the brain will be confused. This is the reason that there are a lot of violence. Even the husband that you have cannot even reason. They can't reason. Kitu kidogo tu. Mimi sioni kama tunaweza endana pamoja. Tuachane. Kitu kidogo tu. Ulifanya tu kitu kidogo tu. Hatuoni. He was always hot-tempered. And by the way, kuna kitu sikuambia. Anytime you feed on animal product, they make you become animalized. Hiyo mliwahi soma. Kama unakula kuku sana. Unapenda kukula hizi vitu vya damu. Ndio maana kuua mtu kwako ni rahisi sana. Watu wanauliwa, wanauana hivi. And I told you yesterday, anytime you see something like that one happening, God will not allow something mysterious like that to happen to you. If you have not been warned by somebody, even a stranger, he will even be able to use a stranger and tell you, hey, huyu ndio umemwona kwamba unataka ku spend the rest of your life with huyu. A stranger. That will be a warning. Lakini always win. Hata babaka hawezi kukushinda. And then we always told, anytime you have a boyfriend, before you get so far, inform the what? The parents. But we always tunaficha. Alafu tunaficha tunasema tutaenda baadaye. Na wakati unasema utaenda baadaye, kumbe unaenda ukiwa in a coffin. One day God will expose you. Sahi jifiche tu. Lakini siku moja atakuexpose. Mpaka watu, hey, elder, choir trainer, Sabbath school superintendent. Hey. Asipo ku-expose, there's a day that every secret thing shall be what? Shall be revealed. Do you know how they shall be revealed? They will be unable to bear the strains of digging deep to find out the meaning of these things which relate to the closing scenes of the earth's history. No matter we can't be able to understand these things. We can't. Why? Our type of eating is wrong. So anytime we begin reading, we don't understand. Yani, mpaka watu wengine wanasema sasa hawa watu wanasomaje Biblia? Wanasomaje? Sasa inakaaje? But then, how do you read the Bible? Unasomaje? So sweet. And mastering things, very easy. Can master most of the verses. Offered too. It is very easy. Sweet. You enjoy health. Kukutana na daktari ni ngumu. Yani that is what God is promising us. So that you can be able to have most of our time evangelizing. Anytime we become sick, a lot of money goes to the hospital. Anytime, and then wale watu ambao walikuwa nafaa wawe shambani wanalima, wanakuja kukunas pale. Alafu sometimes the money that was supposed to be used in advancing the kingdom of God is used in the hospital. And then when you die, you have not accomplished your work, and then you bring a lot of burden to your family. God is saying, achana na hizi so that you can enjoy life. When the books of Daniel and Revelation are better understood, believers will have an entirely different religious experience. You say me amen. Revelation and what? Daniel. Wengine wanasema hiyo kitabu tutasoma mbinguni. They will be given such glimpses of open gates of heaven. The heart and mind will be impressed with the character that all must develop in order to realize the blessedness, which is to be the reward of the pure heart. That is testimony to ministers. 114, paragraph 3. The sequence of events that you have, there's a book that we read it yesterday, the book of education, page 178, paragraph 3 says, the history which the great I Am has marked out in his word, uniting link after link in the prophetic chain. I wish I had some pens here so that I can be able to write. There's a link. You read food chain, is it? Yeah, it begins from where? Najua nyinyi nyote mnafanya physics, lakini wachache ambao walifanya biology wenye wako hapa. Inaanza wapi? Producers. Alafu inaenda wapi? Primary consumers, and then secondary consumers, and then tertiary. That is also how God has got his prophetic chain. Movement from one place to another. That is what we have. Yani, this is the reason that's why God in his wisdom akasema ili watu waweze kuelewa hizi vitu vile nimeandika hapa kwa Biblia, wacha nitumie this piece of prophecy to explain for them. The spirit of prophecy tell us, kumbe there is link after link of prophetic chain. From eternity in the past to eternity in the what? In the future. Eternity in the past, we begin the book of Genesis. In the beginning, what? God. Eternity in the future, we are told the new Jerusalem and the what? Shall come. Eternity and the present time. It tells us where we are today in the procession of the ages and what we may expect in the time to come. All that prophecy has foretold as coming to pass until the present time has been traced on the pages of history, and we may be assured that all which is yet to come will be what? Even the word we want to talk about today, right now, will be fulfilled in its order. See, you know, to refer jana. It begins from what? In the time of the end, you will be seeing what? Deception. Then false Christ. Then wars and what? Rumors of wars. Then famine, pestilences and what? Climate change. And by the way, I told you that famine or starvation is what will be able to bring what? That is what we have there. Starvation. What we're going to starvation, this is what will be able to result to civil war. I told you that they bring a chaos, they cause chaos, and then they bring they bring order out of chaos. And then from civil war, we go to what is known as Sunday law. Civil war brings about Sunday law. Bringing order. Little time of trouble. Jacob's time of trouble. And then we have the close of what? Probation. Christ ends his work in the what? In the heavenly places. And then, now we have great times of what? Of trouble. Where God now punishes the wicked people that were punishing the righteous. They will be fulfilled in its order. That is why the other day we read how man is being used. Men are grasping. This James chapter 5 verse 1 to 6. And the explanation there is MR 306 paragraph 1. Men are grasping at all they can possibly obtain, paying their labors, the lowest what? Prices. People are working night and day, but the salary is very less. Now, while they expect the highest prices themselves. Selfishness, avariciousness, covetousness, which is idolatry, are cherished. And then thousands of dollars are what? Locked up, where they are of no use to anyone. And those who want this money live in state of continual worry, lest they will be able to. And then by the blessings of God, money put in circulation to help others steadily increases, multiplying itself. That is why even in Kenya, money is not circulating. Now and then akasema, where is this thing taking place? The nations that are leading in this, in India, China and what? Russia. What is happening? We are told that the moneyed men, because they have power and they control the market, they purchase at low rates. All they can be able to obtain, and then they sell at what? Greatly increased price. This is what we said you learned in primary school, known as tariffs. Kumbe Ellen White saw this even before it began. It came into place. This means starvation to the poor. Listen, this means starvation to the poor. After starvation, what comes? Civil war. There will be after civil war, and then there will be a time of what? Trouble, such as never since there was a nation. And then Michael stands up. The way that order. See, you know, Donald Trump recently akaja na hizi mambo ya tariffs. I think I showed you this one the other day. song? 595. 595. Stanza 1. Let's sing 595, stanza 1.
Let every lamp be burning bright, the darkest star is near.
World's leading superpower.
The darkest star of Earth's long night before the Lord's appearing. Then trim your lamps, my brethren dear, then trim your lamps with godly fear. The Master's coming draweth near, let every lamp be burning.
Now listen to
World's
that.
leading superpowers are locking horns.
Game on here. A trade war between the United States and China is here.
China never paid 10 cents
So you
to
listen
this
to that,
country.
you
They
say
ripped us
America,
off. We're putting on a 25% tariff without exception.
They don't take our cars.
And the man is very
they don't
arrogant.
take our products.
Very arrogant
they take
guy.
almost nothing. And we take everything from them.
But what would you do? What can you do?
Very arrogant.
So easy. I drop a 25% tax on China.
We urge the U.S. to correct.
Begin it from verse 15, it says.
And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast.
Yes.
That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their their right hand or in their foreheads.
Yes.
And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name.
I will talk about the image of the beast, the mark of the beast, and the name of the beast tomorrow. But today I only wanted I wanted us to understand when the Bible says we shall not be able to buy or what? Sell. What is the meaning? Because the mark of the beast is not something that can be seen, is it? It's not even written on the hand. But you were saying, how shall we be identified that now this one is a Seventh-day Adventist? Now he's not supposed to buy or what? Sell. How is it going to happen? Unajua, we have only been reading this, but you have never understood how this thing is going to take place. Maybe, listen, the first thing that must happen, this thing is all about to do with economy. And do you know what happens? The present financial system of the world, that is the cash system, where we have the cash money, must collapse so that you can be able to have a new financial what? System. That is what is going to happen. Once that happens, you're going to see how somebody can be able to monitor you and say that now you are a Seventh-day Adventist. You are worshiping on a Sabbath. And how they are going to track you. So it's all about tracking and knowing your details. So the whole financial system must be destroyed. So at the same time, this Education 228, at the same time, anarchy is seeking to sweep away all law, not only divine, but what? Human. The centralizing of wealth and power, the vast combination of enriching of the few at the expense of the many. That is what is even in our country. The combination of poorer classes. Now once this thing, where people are centralizing what? Where? Wealth is being centralized in one place. And then only few people are having money at the expense of the poor. Listen to what the poor will be able to do. The combination of the poorer classes of the defense of their interest and claims, the spirit of unrest and riot and bloodshed, the worldwide dissemination of same teaching that led to the French Revolution will happen. Sijuzi Gen Z walifanya kitu kama hiyo. Gen Z. Ellen White was speaking everything clear. Even when Trump imposed this tariff, did people protest there? Did you see how the protesters are doing it over there? Huh? They were protesting.
Democracy Now, democracynow.org. I'm Amy. We look now at the massive protests that erupted Saturday as over 1 million people took to the streets nationwide to tell President Trump and billionaire Elon Musk hands off, saying no to the Trump administration's dismantling of federal agencies and social programs and its attacks on LGBTQ people, immigrants, education, healthcare, science, free speech, and reproductive rights. The coordinated hands-off protests are the largest demonstrations since President Trump returned to office. They took place across all 50 states and across the world. In Europe, thousands gathered in Berlin, Paris, and London to respond to Trump's sweeping tariffs, which have shocked the global economy. This is a banker speaking from London.
He's a horrible, small-minded person who is easily maneuvered. And the people who are maneuvering him are very, very...
This is Democracy Now!
Akisema kitu kama hicho hapa Kenya. People are angry. By the way, let me ask you one thing. What happens when money is centralized? It's put in one center. Let's look at what happened in the book of Genesis chapter 47 verse 14. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's what? We took all the money into Pharaoh's house. The same thing that is happening. And then he says, and when the money failed, what failed? Money in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan. All the Egyptians came to Joseph and they said, give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth. That is what people will be able to go. And that is why the government trying so much that they can be able to make people become so poorer that people depend on the government. Even getting food from the government, that is their intention. That point will reach. Everything in the Bible is the spirit of prophecy. There must be a collapse in this economy.
Are on the rise. Risk of recession.
Real risk that we're going to see a slowdown.
There is what is known as recession.
We're witnessing the global economy is coming quicker.
We have economic sentiment so weak.
What concerns us, I think, the most is really
so
the incredible strength of the
that
bonds.
That is the recession.
The yield curve is inverted.
Which, in general, economists consider to be a very strong recessionary signal.
And that's been an infallible
indicator
of recession.
Technical recession.
Odds of a global recession have really risen.
20% probability.
25% chance
that we get a U.S. recession in the next 12 months.
Recession, financial what? So this financial system that we have right now must come. Have you ever heard of what is known as de-dollarization? To make that the dollar, they are moving away from the dollar. It must collapse. And what? It has collapsed. Listen to what happened here.
Well, Elon Musk experienced the 7th worst day of his life today. With the stock market crashing on fears of a Donald Trump-caused recession right now, which Wall Street is calling the Trump session. Getting a recession named after you as president is not easy. It usually is not so clear, not an absolute straight line of cause.
Well, everything is happening the way they are done. Me, I'm not saying that Trump is the one that is going to sign the Sunday law. Umesikia nikisema hiyo kitu? Sijasema kitu kama hiyo, sivyo? Usaya yule mtumishi alituambia kwamba Trump is going to sign this. Sijasema hapo. And I'm not saying that he's not the one that is going to sign. Me, I'm telling you what is happening. You see what is happening in prophecy and what is happening in the what? Yes. So that we can be able to connect the dots and you see how close we are. What about this? Digital currency. There's something that is known as digital currency.
A world order is
digital currency is a currency. Yani, we want to move from a cashless society. Yani cash ama shilingi ambazo tuko nazo. We are going to do away with them so that you can be able to be in a society where it is known as cashless what? Society. Inaitwa CBDC. CBDC in full. Chapa hiyo kitu bana haraka. Warren, msaidie. CBDC. Mtu atusaidie. Yes. Central Bank Digital Currency. That is the meaning, CBDC. And then, in this case, nobody is going to choose his or her bank. We only are going to have one bank, central bank what? And then, all our money will be directed to that bank. And then the money will be digitalized. Listen to what these people are saying here. These are the people that are controlling this world. Economic, they are talking about.
What underpins a world order is always the financial system. I was brought up with a.
She's talking about world order, the new world what? Anytime you hear of the new world order, by the way, the simple name for the new world order is Sunday law. So for Sunday law to come, listen to what she's saying.
Kind of inside. What underpins a world order is always the financial system. I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and
we are about to abandon what? Traditional system of money.
And introduce a new one.
I want to get to treasury.
Counting and introduce a new one.
I want to get to
where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one.
I get to treasuries because the market's getting a sign that a recession could be on the horizon. It's what everybody's talking about.
They are really working around the clock so that they can be able to bring these things.
And will have enormous economic
working around the clock that they can be able to bring. So the traditional one tunatoka. And then they come and they can be able to reset it all. And then we have the new financial system that they want us to have.
What underpins a world order is always the financial system. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we are
saying the quiet part out loud.
Motivated by real digital currency here.
In any way.
By programming CBDC.
So it means the money can be programmed to be spent in any way in which the central bank or the government decides.
By programming CBDC, those money can be precisely targeted for what kind of people can own and what kind of use this money can be utilized.
One of my particular...
Yani, when you have that money, you cannot spend it the way you want to spend it. Unatoka hapa unanunua vyakula vyako vile unataka alafu they can program and see on how they tell you how to use that money. That is, it is programmable. Yani a time is going to come where you must be controlled on how to use your money.
Concerns of the World Economic Forum, because they're talking about implementing a carbon allowance. Now this means each individual will be given a certain amount of, whether it's credit or whatever it is, carbon that they are allowed to emit.
We're developing technology an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint.
Carbon paper.
What does that mean? That's, where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So
they are going to control where you travel, whatever you eat. That is what is entailed there. How are they going to do this? Yeah, that is one economic forum they're discussing.
So if I buy too many plane tickets, or if I buy too much meat, because those things are all supposedly very bad for the environment, my money when I go to fill up my car could then be declined.
Those transaction data in terms of how many coffee I drink every day, where I buy coffee.
Yes.
Do I use Uber every day?
Do you use Uber?
And what kind of working hours I have. Those non-traditional data can be very useful for financial service providers to give me a credit score.
Good.
And based on that credit score, the financial service provider give me a credit line.
Again, it really is the most tyrannical form of surveillance we will ever see when they control the money.
So, when they control the money,
rejected. So
do I use
Again, it really is the most tyrannical form of surveillance we will ever see. When they control the money, they control the world.
So they will be able to control the money, and as they control the money, they shall be able to control the world. The world. So that is what is coming. Now, how are they going to know that me, I'm worshiping on this day and on that day? Now, listen.
Well, first of all, I think the recession has already started. I think we're in it now. It's just early. In fact, the first quarter was already a negative print. And I don't think it's going to be a mild recession. I think this recession is going to be worse than the Great Recession that started following the 2008 financial crisis. So, and remember, the government didn't see that one coming either. And in fact, when we were 6 or 7 months into that recession, the Federal Reserve and other economists still claimed that there was no recession anywhere in sight. So this recession is going to be much worse than that one. And what's going to make it particularly problematic is inflation, because inflation...
Now that this person here explained what CBDC is, we are just explaining it. Now listen to these people, how they were talking about what will happen.
Clearly we are witnessing right now the Chinification of Europe.
Yes.
Because we see what is happening in China right now with the social credit score, where the government is monitoring and surveilling all the people from the beginning to end.
What?
Everything that they do, everything, everywhere
so
where they watch, and they watch everything. This is the example of a tyranny. When the government knows everything about you, where you go, what you eat, where you enter, that's the tyrannical system. And we've seen this system being implemented right now under the leadership of Ursula von der Leyen, slowly but surely in the European Union. The green certificate was just the first step.
I personally experienced it, right? Those transaction data can be utilized by service providers.
We have had that. We have had that.
And because of the
they are
2008 economic
programmable.
crash
Listen
in
to how they are
particular.
programmable.
So they're bringing in these central banking digital currencies. Why is that word programmable in there? So what they said in that article, and the Chancellor put a video out saying this as well. They said, right, think back to what vaccine passports were, yeah? If you don't have your jab, you can't even eat in this restaurant.
Yes.
What they've said, and why the word programmable was in that headline was, they've said that this money that you will earn from work, instead of having paper money, you have this digital money. It's programmable so that you can't
buy. They know everything. Now listen.
A financial reset is only a month away.
It's only
Christine Lagarde, the head of the European Central Bank, announced that there is a new push to accelerate the transition to central bank digital currencies and digital euro. She's working closely with European Council, she said, and European Commission to put in place the infrastructure that is needed to implement the CBDC.
Wonderful.
Lagarde indicated that the deadline is October. A financial reset is only...
It's only months what? Months away. Why? Now.
Are investors or have all of them, it's financial and we're growing, because people recognize that this is a problem that needs to be solved. It's a problem for governments, it's a problem for businesses, it's a problem for women, and particularly poor women and men. We've got to solve this problem.
Alafu kuna mali anasema kwamba most of the leaders in the whole world has accepted this move, including Kenya yetu. Kenya, unajua mali penye tumeanza na hii kitu? Mwaisikia?
Have to solve it. Conclusion, and they all started 10 years ago. If we don't start things now, those as critical for digital financial inclusion over 10 years ago.
Let me show you. Let me show you.
Imagine a world where everything you do, from meeting your friends to using a public toilet, is recorded. Based on your actions ranging from what you buy to where you go, you are given...
We have surveillance.
Hello and welcome to GK Today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi once said...
The first, China has also gone cashless. And by the way, China, US is using China as a role model. Let me say a role model. India is, America is using India as a role model. By the way, tulisoma mahali India, China, Russia, and what? And they are the things they are the ones that are controlling this economy here. They have gone, even Canada, they have gone cashless. And then China now has done it. China has just done it. So they are copying. So the world is going there. It is not something that is new.
That has already happened. Then Tracy is in Beijing to show us what a nearly cashless society actually looks like.
That is what it has begun working. Brethren, we are at the threshold. We are just at the threshold. Ile siku tu wanasema kwamba now today everybody to worship on Sunday. If the Bible says that those people who shall not be able to worship on Sunday, I will be able to tell you that one yesterday. Not yesterday. Hey, tomorrow. I will tell you that tomorrow. So that you can be able to see. What about worshiping on Sunday? And how are people going to be killed? Very painful. India launched their digital ID, and then we have face recognition, and I've just seen my time there. People are complaining. They are talking about digital currency.
The World Economic Forum is meant to be dismissed as a so-called conspiracy theory. If that's the case, why is the Federal Liberal Party copying its policies? Scott Morrison's so-called Trusted Digital Identity Bill is a copy-paste directly from the World Economic Forum's Global Digital Identity Project. It's designed to shift the global economy away from private ownership into what the World Economic Forum calls an access model, where you own nothing and instead rent goods and services from the world's billionaires and billionaire corporations. In other words, the goal of digital identity is a life via subscription.
A life
without assets and ownership.
Via what? Subscription. I like these people. These people are not even Christian.
The dream of micromanaging individual carbon emissions hinges on the soon-to-be passed so-called Trusted Digital Identity Bill. If Scott Morrison and Barnaby Joyce want to achieve their net zero 2050 dream, freedoms must be slashed, removed. It is only through the relentless digital stalking of citizens that the Liberal Nationals government can micromanage purchasing choices. Businesses are punished with tax, while consumers get their credit score docked. This already happens in China, where a person's shopping list lowers their social credit score until they cannot travel. In Australia, it may be as simple as denying banking services because you dare to drive a four-wheel drive to work. Australian banks have already shown a keen interest in the Trusted Digital Identity Bill, saying it will, quote, allow them to create a rich view of their customers. These are the same banks that already list climate risk as a means to deny loans. When the Liberals tell you that digital identity will make your life easier, remember, there is no such thing as a free lunch.
Good. Thank you. Our money will be programmable. Somebody is going to know that you are a Seventh-day Adventist. If they can know the food that you eat, where you go, how you travel, that is where we are not going to sell or buy. And brethren, it's going to be very painful. Imagine you cannot be able to eat. So many people, let me repeat, are now seated here. And may God forbid, that day ikifika, so many people are going to leave the church. And so many people are going to worship on Sunday because they cannot stay without food. The last great conflict of great controversy with Satan, those who are loyal to God will see every earthly support cut off. Earthly support will be cut off because they refuse to break his law in obedience to earthly powers. They will be forbidden to buy or sell. It will finally be decreed that they shall be put to death. Revelation says that. But the obedience is given the promise. He shall dwell on high. His place of defense shall be the munition of rocks. Bread shall be given him, and waters shall be and his waters shall be what? By the way, do you know, tomorrow I will be able to tell you, kumbe, we are going to eat manna before we go to heaven. Hey. And then, where are you going to eat manna? Not in that your beautiful home. A moment is going to come that your beautiful house or home, you're going to leave it. Where are we going to hide? In the rocks, mountains, and the what? And then remember, at night it will be very cold. Tell me, where will you be able to get even warmth from? Do you know that ikifika mchana, angels brings for us manna. By the manna, are angels what? Food. And then at night, because it is cold, angels shall be able to come and surround us, bringing the heavenly warmth. But remember, the number of martyrs are still not. Are you persecutable? A question we shall answer tomorrow. Anyway, nasha nipite hizo vitu. And then, hizi vitu tunaposema, kuna mtu tu anasema, kuna mtu tu, si hapa, sawa, si hapa, anasema hivi. To human beings, this thing seems impossible. Kuna mtu anasema, vitu kama hivi haviwezi fanyika. As the defenders of truth refuse to honor the Sunday Sabbath, some of them will be thrust into prison, some will be exiled, some will be treated as slaves. No. And then, hapo chini, nataka tusome. But the heart, the red one, last red words, the heart can be very cruel when God's fear and love is removed. That is Great Controversy 6 or 8. Blue words inasema, to human wisdom, all these seems what? Impossible. To human, right now, our human wisdom, we might think that these things are impossible. The freedom of religious practices shall be destroyed. America's precious freedom of religious belief and practices are in danger in being destroyed. And by those who would force the conscience of minority to conform to the wishes of majority. And then it is now the devil that is doing this work.
The world is a different place today.
The world is a different place. People are really suffering.
We cannot
ignore
the global security issue that could impact millions around the world.
To reach immediate action a place where they can be able to rest,
and poverty,
where they can be able to,
not to mention
be free